Hey guys, today we have Alister Ling joining us from Australia. He is a Laka Oak.
Hello, welcome everyone. I am Alister Ling. It is an absolute privilege to be here. Such fine company.
How's your competition this weekend, Alister?
It was horrible.
I know.
Would you like me to elaborate?
Yes, please.
Absolutely.
No, it wasn't that bad. The weather was terrible, but other than that, it was okay. It was so windy on Saturday that like none of the equipment stayed on the bins. We had I think it was bottle shuttle, and I was so grateful that I managed to get over the line before one of the bottles blew off. So I sat on the sidelines for like no joke, like half an hour while they did like 5 restarts of bottle. So I really felt for all those first riders that basically did the whole extra session of bottle shuttle because of the wind. But yeah, that was a pretty recurring theme throughout the day. Nothing was staying on, and then the wind was a little less on Sunday, but it was raining a lot, so that kind of put a bit of a dampener on it as well, pun intended. It was all right. I rode with Simon Rogers, so yeah, we had a lot of fun. So he's always a good laugh to ride with. I've done the last 2 competitions with him because I normally ride with Aidan Summers, who you'd know. He was over in South Africa, but his horse like ran through a fence or something like that. So we're waiting for it to heal itself, and then I'll be back with him, and then Simon's main pony. Came up a little sore, so he was on his other one this weekend. So pretty much anyone I ride with, their horse gets injured. That's my advert.
Yo, that's not ideal. And then, so when it's super windy and things, would they ever change the race or anything? Like here, we often I think we're doing like bottle races with quoits from, what's that race called? Is it called quoit?
Yeah,
Hoopla, yeah. Well, like we talked about it, like it's never ideal to substitute a race, but like I think if like the last time they tried to do it, I think if they weren't able to get it going, we're going to try and rerun that race on the second day, because we only had 1 heat of opens. You could do that, but like if it was multiple heats, it probably would have been way too hard, and we would have had to have substituted it out for something else that I probably wasn't good at. But I think Simon and I were like second, so we were pretty keen for the race to stand.
So you were happy for everybody else to rerun it 10 times?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, our ponies didn't have a lot in the gas tank either, so it was really, really good for us to be able to give them a breather halfway through the session and come back strong for the second half. Didn't mind that at all.
That was the highlights of your weekend. But
standing on the sideline and watching everyone do bottle shuttle over and over. Yeah, pretty much. No, we had
you didn't do well.
No, well, we came third, which was like, that was a good result because like my pony's in its first season, and Simon had to bring his old pony out of retirement for it. So like we were never going to win it. We're never going to win it. Chris and Ryan, they won it. They rode really well, a lot of horsepower there. So we're never getting on top of them this weekend. But so third really was a good result for us. I was happy with it. I just didn't want to be out in the wind.
And then are your competitions like everything back to normal? Are you affected at all by COVID?
Yeah, well, we had to cancel our national competition for the first. So I guess just to give you an idea, we run a national individuals championship, a national pairs, and a national teams championship. Normally we have one in Easter, Easter's in like in April for anyone that's not religious. And then we have like another one in I think around May, and then another one in, I'm going to say October. But because like Australia is so big, the people in Western Australia, which is, they have to travel, like, I think it takes them 3 days of driving to get to like a competition like on the east side of Australia. So this year we're going to run 2 national championships, I guess, back to back over, I think it was going to be like just over a week, kind of similar to how like New Zealand run their Horse of the Year show, if any of you've been out there. So it was still going to fit within like the same like amount of games you're allowed to have per day and all of that sort of stuff. But it just meant that, yeah, the people that had to travel weren't going to have to make multiple trips in the year. But yeah, we had to cancel that because like, although there's hardly any like COVID cases in Australia, there's still like pretty high regulations around like COVID safe activities and what you have to do to comply. And it just got to a point with the venue where like the amount of stuff we're going to have to do and comply with, like with the showgrounds and like the local police, it was just going to get so difficult to run the competition. And like also a factor was we didn't want to risk losing that relationship with the showground either, and then not being able to run it there in the future. Because that Easter one's probably like, I'm going to say it's our most fun competition because everyone's got time off, like everyone's chilled, like no one's rushing home and stuff. Like you have a bit of a party, have a beer or 10, and yeah, it's just a great time. So we'd hate to lose that. So as unfortunate it was to cancel that, I think in the long run it's going to be better off. But locally within our states, everything's pretty normal. We're in Victoria. We're running a competition like at least every month. We're getting pretty good numbers. Like our membership's nearly what it was before COVID. So like everything's bounced back here pretty well, to be honest.
Nice. And then do you, like for the rest of the year, is your game season looking pretty good then?
Yeah. So I guess our season's sort of backwards because like you guys will start in like March.
Yeah.
And then run till
in April.
April, whatever. And then run till like November, because our winter falls in the middle of the year. So we sort of have a break over like June, July, and then we start back up again, which is like good and bad because, you know, do you put the ponies out? Do you keep them in work? Like it's a bit of a juggling act. So yeah, we'll go pretty hard until like May, and then yeah, we'll chill for a bit in June, July, and then fire back up again like August, running into that last national championships of the year in October is usually how we do it.
It was much the same in South Africa, right, me?
Yeah, I think it's in the middle of the year. We wouldn't necessarily stop for a break, but we would kind of be preparing for Worlds, or if we were traveling, because that's when the competitions would be over here. So,
like I think that's probably the other reason why we don't really do much in July, is because like normally like half our committees are overseas, which makes it difficult to run stuff. There's like for you guys, like often like run clinics and stuff like for young riders over that quiet period, which is always good. Like Warwick Slade's been doing a bit of that recently, and that's done really well to grow our numbers, particularly with the young age groups.
Sick.
Yeah, we did a lot of fundraising as well over that time. I haven't been involved in any of that for the last 2 years now, obviously, being here in England.
What do you do for fundraising? Last fundraiser I was a part of was that bloody Royal Berkshire calendar that's still hanging on my wall, and I still see Josh Adamson with that creepy look just staring at me every morning when I leave to go to work at 6:30 in the morning. I just see him naked in a river, just eyeing me off.
No, we haven't dabbled in any naked calendars, but my dad had all these arrangements with these big festivals that we would sell bacon and egg rolls, hamburgers, just like general catering stuff. So one of the big events was a Hilton Arts Festival, it was like 3 days, I think, but it was non-stop. It was insane. So we raised a lot of funds from that.
Oh, cool. So what, like a bake sale or something?
If baking was bacon and egg rolls.
Yeah, bacon and egg hamburgers, yeah. Like an extreme level bake sale, I suppose. Yeah, and then I guess our season also had to fit in like when people would have their African horse sickness vaccination. Well, not people, their horses. Because that would be like 6 weeks off. Eh?
Never mind. It's a saying that probably makes no sense to you.
What did you say?
that old chestnut? Yeah. Never heard that one?
No, yeah, I've heard it.
We just didn't hear you, which is I think she asked you.
My bad.
Yeah, so that kind of like takes out 6 weeks of our competition season. Like everyone planning when to do their horse sickness vaccinations before, because we would have our individual and pairs champs sort of around December. So 6 weeks before that, everyone would have to have their horses vaccinated.
So they just get sick every year, like flat out.
Yeah. It's really bad. So the virus is carried by midges, a little culicoides midge.
Wait, they're real?
What?
Culicoides midges. Yeah.
Midges are real. I thought. Okay. All right. Yeah,
that's supposed to be.
I didn't. I just didn't know that was a real thing. I thought it was like I don't know, something like you tell kids or whatever.
It's like a little mosquito.
Yeah. Okay. You learn something new every day.
You can Google it. I think it's Culicoides imicola.
Well, given that you're a vet, I think I'll just take your word for it. I know when I'm losing a battle.
Yeah. So early summer and then right through to late summer, I guess, until the first frost. It's pretty high risk too.
It's like COVID. They have to have their 2 injections, and they have the first one, and then you have to like let them relax.
I think you just got to survive the blood clots. It's probably too soon for that joke, isn't it?
Probably. just
I don't know
we're not
about
giving
that
any
one,
medical advice here.
Yeah, because apparently the incidence of blood clots was no higher than there would be in a normal population anyway. So it's not like the vaccines increased the incidence of blood clots. And also, I was thinking that maybe if they're vaccinating all the ill people first, then those people are going to be the ones who are more likely to get blood clots.
Yeah, they're getting blood clots anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So.
It's just become so political.
I know. Sorry, we'll leave it there.
Please don't take me out of context on that one.
Back to pony games. Who's up and coming in the Australian games world? Who's going to be on the next world's team?
Are we talking? Well, are you talking about like young juniors or open riders?
Yeah, because
I mean, new open rider.
Yeah, not new, but like Ryan Senior is killing it at the moment.
I think he's your pairs partner.
No, he's not. He's in my team.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I try and anyone that I think could beat me, I generally try and ask them to be on my team. It makes life a lot easier. But yeah, he's going super well. Like you know how there's like kids that are like good games riders and there's kids that are good horse riders. Like at the moment, like now he's both. Because I guess to give you some background, he went and worked at like a racing stable, and he was doing like track work on race horses, and like his riding just improved out of sight after that. And he's always had really good game skills, and yeah, he like picked up this horse. I'm gonna say he must have had it nearly 2 years now, and like it wasn't much chop when he got it, but like it's just come on so well. Like it's so quick. It's probably the quickest horse, one of the quickest horses in Australia at the moment, I would say. It's like a little on the hot side, but he keeps it pretty chill, which is pretty good. Like he can get through the steady games pretty nice as well. So like I reckon he's going to be a big shot at our national individuals whenever we get around to running that. And yeah, I can see him being on world's teams to come if we end up having the bloody things. But yeah, he's shooting the lights out at the moment. Well, we're not allowed to leave our country at the moment. So, well, you can, but you're not allowed to come back, which is the issue.
You have until August.
Yeah. Like I can't see Australia letting us send a world's team this year. I just don't think the government's going to allow it, unfortunately. But yeah, it's really tough for the kids that made it. I can say old adults really that made it last year for the first time and missed out. Like that's super rough. So I hope they still get a chance to go. But like I would not be betting my life on us getting a team over there this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, we have a similar challenge, I guess.
Pretty close to 3 riders already in England, though.
Yeah, but we can't get the other 2 over.
I guess you just have to marry up.
Yeah.
Move fast. Carl's on it already.
I wonder. There wouldn't be too many people trying to get a South African green card, hey?
No.
Definitely not.
It's not the most desirable passport in the world.
It's a nice holiday destination, but anyone can go there anyway. So
yeah. love to be there. Also love to be able to leave there.
Yeah, not ideal.
So Carl's been asking everyone on the podcast how he should fix his pony. Do you have any advice for Carl?
I think I know how Alister might want me to fix my pony. When he was over in South Africa, he came and gave a few of my lessons for me when I was coaching, which was quite cool.
Look, to be honest, I'd probably be telling the pony to get a new rider.
Wow.
My dad actually said that I think at a pony club clinic. There's this little kid that was like, he's like, oh mum, like, it's like we need to get a new pony. Like pony's not like good enough. Blah blah. My dad goes, no, your parents need to get a new kid. And the kid's like, no, you can't replace the kid. Just ridiculous. But yeah, I think this is that exact situation again. Replace the rider. What's your pony doing wrong, Kyle? Apart from like falling over all the time because you're so tall. I don't even know if it's falling over. I'm just assuming that it is.
You're correct.
We've fallen over twice, but it's I think more due to his lack of stopping on the way home.
Yeah.
Because we're just way too fast by the time we get to that back corner. And he is fast. We're like, he'll put any of your, I don't care what horse you have, but he's fast. And he turns really well. But he just doesn't stop on the way home. So it gets a bit scary when you get to the back fence and like you're leaning over like a motorbike. It's just sand going up and then hit the wall.
Yeah, see, like, I guess, like, because I'm on a quarter horse now and like I can't even get her to run to the back fence. Because I guess that breeding, that they just love doing nothing. So like they reckon standing still is like the best thing ever. So like if I ask her to stand at like the bank board or something, she thinks that's a reward. Like to her, that's like this is sick. So like bank race, 4 flag, like she's so good because like she thinks I'm doing her a favor by letting her stand next to the equipment. So
you recommend I just get a quarter horse?
I'm assuming your horse probably doesn't have that attitude of like wanting to rest because like I guess like all my training revolves around like rewarding the horse with letting it rest. So like at practice at home, like I'll never ride past so like say I'm picking something up from the bin on the way home, like I'll stop at that bin and that's the end of my run. Like I'll jump off or whatever. So when I get into the ring, like the pony thinks, oh yeah, there's like nothing happens past that bit. So instead of having the horse like bolt on you when you go to pick something up, you just push it on a little bit and you can go through it like a sane speed. And then when you get to like from a young age, I've always like pulled the horse up on the 10-yard line, like not hard, but like I just let it stop. So now it just looks for it. But like if your horse doesn't have that attitude, then it's going to be a little more difficult to train. But like what I would probably try is like I'd spend more time going backwards, because the reality is like if you've got a good backup, you're going to have a good stop. And if you're always backing up, and when you go to stop, if your horse is anticipating being asked to back up, it's probably more likely to stop. So that's probably where I would start. But training is much easier than retraining. So maybe just get a new horse and start again.
Yeah.
Like training a horse doesn't take much skill. Retraining a horse takes a lot of skill.
Yeah, I like to think I've got it. So I think if everyone just keeps an eye out on Apollo this year, there'll be some good changes, I hope.
Or you could. The other thing I might try if I were you would be to submit a rule change to IMGA and get the field lengthened.
Either that or put a rope gag in my pony's mouth.
Yeah, he stops pretty well.
As long as the rope has got like a snaffle joint, I think it should be fine.
Exactly. Like even if it's just tied with like a piece of wire or fishing guts or something.
Yeah. Get Bomber on the phone. I'm sure he'll be able to sort something out and get his boys to whip you up something and send it over.
Quite likes me, doesn't he? He was super cool. He pops into the shop.
He does. He gave us a full tour of the factory. I was just looking through some photos before that got my memory, and I was trying to be PC and not say sweatshop, but it's definitely a factory, if not a sweatshop.
Not safe.
You want to tell everyone on
you can edit that out if you want.
Yeah. So, what is his first name, Mr. Bomber? Bomber who?
I did know once upon a time, but I've forgotten.
That's okay. Anyway,
I think they're like custom-made bits, though.
Custom-made?
Right? They're custom-made bits, though. Is that right?
Yeah, custom-made bits. They're a Polocross company. They do. Like,
I got some Spurs custom-made there as well when I was in South Africa.
Do you still use those?
I haven't needed to. Like I use them like training young horses, but like I don't ride in them all the time because like there's not really much point because you can't do games in them. So kind of just ride in them until the horse like realizes, just thinks they're like a permanent thing, and then you take them off and the horse is already trained.
Okay, I guess that'll work. But anyway, so to anyone that is listening wants to know what Bombers is, they make custom-made bits, and they're supposedly like sculpted to your pony's mouth, and they're super comfortable and easy on your pony. And they also make Polocross rackets and helmets and a super large range of Polocross type equipment, which is pretty big in Australia, I think.
Yeah, well, I think I've seen Bombers bits like all over the world, and like the reason I like it is because
they're blue.
Like there's a lot of choice, and like you can get like someone to come out and they like watch you ride your horse, and they watch like how the horse reacts or whatever, and they can tell you whether like the horse has got a sensitive tongue or like I don't know, I'm no expert, but they can tell you all that stuff, and then they say, well, given how your horse is, we recommend like this bit, and then they measure it up for you, and they get you the right size and the right thing or whatever. So you end up like with a pretty good result, rather than just closing your eyes and pulling something off the rack at like the saddle shop or whatever you call it, like what I used to do. Or Mum used to do for me when I was a kid.
Thanks, Mum.
I'm not going to lie. I never bought a bit before I went to South Africa.
You mentioned that one of your favorite riders to watch was Eddie Surman.
Yes.
And I'd like to give him a
great
shout
Eddie.
out just because he sent me such a lovely message about the podcast. He's really enjoying it. To him and his dad listening to it in the workshop.
Oh, is there already episodes out? I haven't even listened to it yet.
Yeah,
The
man.
first episode is out.
You didn't tell me. All right, I'll have to go and catch up.
Well, it's not our problem you don't follow us on social media, bro.
No, I do. I followed it.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll check it out. I have been meaning to listen. I just didn't think it had started yet. But so I'll get those views up for you.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Eddie's. Are we still talking about Eddie, or is that all he gets?
I mean, I just wanted to give him a shout out. You can talk about him with absolute pleasure.
No. Yeah, no, We'll talk about Eddie. We'll talk about Eddie a little bit.
I don't know him very well.
I'll give you let's go right into it.
Who's Eddie, Alister? Tell us.
All right, who is Eddie Surman? Can we get like that put up in text, like above my head, like here on the YouTube? Who is Eddie Surman? So, well, when I got to the UK, like I didn't know many people. I actually met Eddie in New Zealand at Worlds in, oh God, I don't even know. That must have been like 2013, was it? Oh, it's good knowledge. Yeah, I met him in 2013. And then I guess I was just like, saw him in the UK and I was like, hey. And he's like, yeah, like if you want to come stay at my house, which was great because, then like I obviously had a house and like they gave me ponies and because I was friends with Eddie Surman, people cared who I was. Like, it was fantastic. Eddie is great. Like he very inclusive for international riders that don't know a thing about anything. I think at one point, it must have been before Europeans or something like that. Eddie had just said to a whole lot of people, like off the cuff, like throughout Europe, like, yeah. If you're coming down to Europeans, like just feel free to come stay at my house or whatever.
Yeah, like 30 of you.
Yeah, like sure enough, there was like this international circus of people that turned up at Eddie's house. Like we had like all these yards set up in the paddock, like for all the ponies and stuff. Like it was ridiculous. Like it was a full blown circus. And we went out in Leicester one night to the infamous nightclub Mosh, which Eddie tells me has sadly been closed since like March last year or something because of COVID, which is like terrible for the people of Leicester because that's really the only thing they have to live for apart from they have a King, I think it's King Richard III like memorial tour. That's Leicester's other claim to fame. But yeah, without Mosh, Leicester is nothing. And so we went out to this nightclub Mosh and like we fully like bugged out the bouncer. Like he looked at us and he's like checking our IDs. We had, I think, like 7 different nationalities, like 7 different passports, and like Eddie went last. So this poor guy's like looking at all these like international passports from like weird countries, and he's just thinking like, surely this all got to be fake. And then Eddie's the only one with a British passport. It was hilarious. Like hardly anyone spoke English. It was great. Good night that one with the international multicultural IMGA.
And he's taking his vagrants out for a Jordan lesson.
Yeah, basically. The bouncer must have thought we're all like farm slaves or something, like 100%. And I guess the other thing that we sort of got to get into with Eddie is that silver lorry. You'd be familiar with the lorry, wouldn't you?
Is this the one that we spent at Worlds?
The big silver lorry, which was a bargain. They got it from a tip, right? So super reliable. Obviously, didn't come with dealer warranty. That thing, like, I don't think we had I think maybe, I don't know if we ever had a trip without like something going wrong on it, but you know, Eddie being Eddie, it got fixed every time. Sometimes he'd spend the whole week fixing the lorry to go to the show the next weekend. Like the thing's a disaster, but he always managed to get it back on the road. One of the moments that changed me forever was when Eddie, we're driving to Belgium, and Eddie had been driving for like hours, and he just like couldn't go any further, so he went to have a sleep. And Chloe Golding was driving, and it could have been longer. Like it could have been longer, but it felt like Eddie had like been asleep for like 10 minutes, and we just hear this massive like bang, and one of the tires blew out, and poor Eddie has to get up again, and we're having like trying to change the lorry tire on the side of like a highway, which was ridiculous. And Brian was like trying to like ratchet the jack. He was just going insane. He was a changed person after that. Like I think he actually went like psychotic. And this was all like 4 a.m. in the morning, so no one was having a good time. But yeah, it was a fond memory changing the tire on the side of the road.
To end that off, thank you, Eddie Surman,
thank you, Eddie, for all the experiences, good, bad, and in between.
Oh Christ! But yeah, we should get on to your time in South Africa, where I think I met you. Did I meet you before then?
Did you ride at Worlds in France?
Yes.
Yes. So that's where. Well, I didn't actually meet you. I was watching the live stream, and I saw you riding, and I just couldn't. I couldn't like fathom how tall you were. And it really stuck with me to the point where I feel like I literally met you before I did.
Carl had a pretty tall pony in France as well. I think it was about 15 hands, maybe 14.3.
Yeah, Charles? Okay. He still looks very tall.
I'm not sure of the lovely woman's name, but good old Quentin's mum, when she was like giving us our ponies, and like I could barely understand her accents in the first place, and she probably couldn't understand mine. It was my thick South African accent.
You also don't speak English often.
Nah. But anyway, so she's like giving us all our, like telling us what our ponies' names are, and we're in the tack room, and like all the tacks labeled. And she like looks to me and she tells me "Prance." I was like, I look around. All right, that's fine. And then like I had to go back to like Meg and Tom afterwards and be like, guys, I don't know what my horse's name is. And they were like, oh no.
Oh, dude, that's happened to me so many times.
His name was Prince.
No, what I have trouble with is forgetting which horse is mine. Like one year when I rode in New Zealand, I think it was like one of my first overseas trips. We stayed with the Wellesbys, and they'd like donated horses for us. And I was like, yeah, cool. Like I'm riding this grey pony, and like went out into the paddock like the next morning to like go get it. They were all grey. I couldn't remember like which one it was.
Oh, that is tricky though. They're all grey.
Oh, it probably wasn't that hard for any normal person that shows a reasonable amount of attention.
Shit. Okay, I think we should move on to South Africa.
Yes, so I hadn't met you before South Africa. So we must have met at Nations, I think, in South Africa, because I've done 2 tours of South Africa.
Yes, I remember meeting you at the airport for the second one. I think I came and fetched you.
So what I'll say, and this is where like people that do MGA really have it good, is that like when you travel, like you don't see the world as a tourist. You, especially when you stay with people like Kyle, you really get to live it firsthand. You get to see and you get to experience things that only a local would get to experience. So that's why I'd always recommend, don't always stay at the fancy hotels and don't always like stick to the tourist route. Find someone local and get them to show you around, because you never know, you might get to dive into an ocean where there's sharks swimming around, and you might get to witness your first nighttime mugging. You might get to pick up a hitchhiker.
Yes, bro.
You might get to buy sunglasses off a security guard's head.
One of my notes is sunglass drug deal.
You might get to get left on in the middle lane of the highway at a roadside
to go buy a
market,
gold,
and then have to run down the highway to get back in your car. Like the opportunities are endless, really. I could go on all night. Where do you want to start?
After the competition, but like in the sequence of events, I believe there was a competition that you'd arrived for, and your team, if I'm correct, it was nations first, Tom? I know I asked you last night, but I've forgotten already.
It was individuals first for everyone.
Yeah.
Oh,
individuals
first. Yes.
SA champs.
Uh-huh.
And how did you end up getting my pony?
I came third, didn't I?
Yeah, you were the highest placed international rider. It was really good.
And like, disclaimer to everyone listening.
I was one of the highest placed out of all riders. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah.
So everyone possibly looks down upon South Africa just because we're always sitting like second last at World Team Champs.
Because Australia's last.
However,
is that what he's trying to say?
However, I think it's usually Canada, to be fair. But anyway, don't want to pull down on any name.
No, we love Canada.
Okay. But like the quality of games in South Africa as a whole is probably quite low. However, like the top 8 riders possibly are pretty good. And then between them, there's so much competition, and there's really, really, really quality ponies, which I'm sure you saw. So like,
yeah, no, I agree with that. Like
the fact
pretty
that
much
you
wherever
came
you go
third isn't because everyone else is shit. I think you were on a
it's
good
because
pony.
I did really well, right?
And you did really well.
Or are you saying it's because I had an easy pony? You're saying it's because I had an easy pony, right?
Well, I'm saying you did have an easy pony. Well, you had a good pony. And
there you go.
And you rode really well. So I'm saying like the quality
wasn't it just something you pulled out of riding school for me?
Yeah, so my mom's got some pretty good ponies in the riding school.
Wherever you go to ride games, I find that like the good riders are always very good. The only real difference is that like some countries have more of them than others. Like I would say like our top horses in Australia and top riders like would do very well like under like in any other country. And I think that's pretty standard, but like we don't have as many good riders like what the UK or Europe does, and like you guys are in the same sort of boat. Although in the UK, like there are, or in Europe, like there are like some freaks that just like no one's gonna get near. I don't know what they do in their spare time. Probably practice. But yeah, like no, there were good ponies. There's a number of good ponies, and yeah, number of really good riders. I definitely had my work cut out for me. That's for sure. I couldn't get near you, Kyle.
Thank you. I'm joking.
Is that what you wanted me to say? Is that why you transferred me $1,000?
That's not what I was going for. I was just trying to say that there is some good games happening in South Africa.
Yeah, there is.
And you rode really well.
Thank you. I think we've accomplished a lot with that conversation.
But the competition was cool and the venue was cool. The
venue was amazing. Oh wait, like the world's venue was incredible. The nation's venue was still very good. Mainly because like you can get a beer for like, I don't even think we have a coin that small here. It was very cheap. Like it was basically free.
It was pretty good. I remember going to get a dress shirt. You didn't have a dress shirt for the formal dinner. So you drove me into town.
This was before the A final.
I think I brought. Oh, this was a disaster. I just remembered the whole story. Should I tell it or do you want to tell it?
I'll go for it, Alister. I love your accent.
All right, I'll tell the story. So, I think I did have a shirt, or maybe I didn't. At best case scenario, it was the wrong color, and I probably didn't have a shirt. And I was like, "Oh, Kyle, I don't have a shirt for the dinner. Can you drive me to the shops so I can buy a shirt?" And Kyle,
the closest shops to the show venue, like we went in a metropolitan area. We went in like, it wasn't like in London. I think the best shop that we could take you to in that area was Mr. Price or Woolworths.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. You took me.
No, it wasn't Woolworths.
No, you took. Well, that was half the issue.
store.
You took me to a shopping center. You took me to like a shopping mall, which was definitely not close at all. And it was right before the finals of the individual, like the national individual competition. And we had plenty of time. Like this wasn't our fault at all. It was the organizing committee's fault.
I agree.
And so
I agree.
Wait, you came too, Tom, didn't you?
Yeah, I was there as well.
Yeah, so the three of us. So
the amount of arrogance that was in that car.
So three out of I'll get to that. So 3 out of the 8 finalists for the individuals were in a car.
I think it was like the top 3 after the semi-finals.
Well, I wasn't going to go that hard, Tom, but yes, you are correct. We're in a car going to a shopping mall, and we're like buying my shirt. I didn't like the cheap ones, so we went into like the department store.
I remember you went into to buy a cheap shirt, and you came out with like 2 bottles of vodka. I think you were so surprised at the price of alcohol. You were like, no.
Yeah, it took me a good while to get over that. But so we bought the shirt, and then once I'd like chosen the shirt, the guy was like, "Oh, the shirt has French cuffs. Do you have cufflinks?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'll buy some cufflinks as well. Show me the cufflinks." So we got these nice like pony cufflinks to go with the shirt. It looked great. Like everyone was in good spirits. And then Kyle's phone was getting blown up, saying that they were starting the individual final. And we're like, "What do you mean? Like it's not meant to start for like another 2 hours?" Because I think there was like a storm rolling in or something. Is that right?
Yeah.
And so they moved the time of the final forward while we're at the shops. And being the smug, arrogant idiots that we were at the time, we've obviously all changed and matured since then. We thought, oh, there's no need to rush. They're not going to start the final without the top 3.
I'm supposed to be winning this competition.
Top 5
like,
or whatever.
We've got Tom here. We've got Alister here. There's no chance they can start without us.
And Kyle's mum, we thought was just winding us up, saying like, no, like they're all like in the arena, like they're going to start without you if you're not here. Blah, blah, blah. And we're just like, yeah, no, they're not going to start. And then we drive in the driveway. And
my pony was really tacked up for me.
I think mine was too. And all the riders were already in the arena, in their lanes, like hat covers on, like equipment in their hands. It was ridiculous. Like the only bad thing I have to say about South Africa is that organizing committee are a bunch of straight out savages. Like, how could you do that to us?
What do you have to say for
I've
yourself?
Never been
Nate?
so violated, except for that night with Tom, I guess. If you want to go into that.
I think Meg was the organizing committee, so you can take it up with her right now on the podcast.
Yeah, well, Meg, I wasn't impressed.
So the thing is that in the morning, all the updates went on the notice board. So they were there in the morning. So I guess you guys just needed to check the notice board daily.
I think at the end of the day,
what notice board? There was no notice board.
Yeah, there definitely was.
Anyway,
Okay.
I do believe Meg. She's most often right.
Thanks, Carl.
I won't tell you how I really feel then.
No, we'll leave that for another day. Anyway, you
That's
made
good.
it. So
We made
all
it.
fine in the end.
Kyle
We didn't
won.
actually start without you, did we? So we can't be that savage.
No.
Well, you may as well have started without me. I felt threatened.
Do you think would you have won if we'd waited and given you a bit more time?
Absolutely.
If you had have waited another 2 days for my pony to get some stamina back, then yeah, sure.
But like, so after that competition, I think I went away and went home for the weekend while you guys all had a huge party. And I believe that was quite fun. I'm not too sure what you guys got up to.
No, I reckon you were. No, you weren't. Yeah, you weren't there.
I was there for one of the big nights, and then I went away, I think, for one night, and that was when all the fun happened.
Yeah. I just remember I was like Tom and I were out like drinking and having a great time, and then I just don't know what happened, and then we woke up in a tent together, and I don't know what he did to me to this day. Like I could be a victim here. I have no idea what he did to me.
He has no idea what he did to him, but he's never made a loud fart, not one day since.
The story is only from Alister. I mean, he's the one that woke up first, apparently, and then told me this story. I was never aware of him being in my tent at all.
Oh, so maybe he
What? You can't claim that. What's with you guys gaslighting me constantly? Yeah, well, that would be weird if I was, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Alister obviously did a good job that night.
And like, I'm pretty sure the tent door was like wide open as well when I woke up. Like, it could have been witnesses.
It's so warm there though. Like by 7 a.m, the sun comes out and you're wet, getting cooked and you're just sweating.
Yeah, it was an interesting climate.
And then we moved on to the Nations was after that, right?
Yeah, the Nations was after that. I think you guys lost. I think Australia won that.
Yeah, they did.
Didn't we?
Yeah, none of us were allowed to ride.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Yeah, why was that? Oh, because you were selected for a Worlds team or something, weren't you? Was that the story?
Yeah, so they tried to keep the nations teams for riders so it's sort of up and coming or not attending many World Champs.
Yeah, I was.
They'll have like 1 or 2 experienced riders and a team of youngsters.
Yeah, we're the same. I was up and coming. Yeah, went back when I was a young whippersnapper. Well, it's true. Like South Africa was my first Worlds, so yeah, it was breaking on through. So that must have been 2016 Nations then.
Yeah.
That makes me feel so old.
What crazy things did we get up to? I remember we were house sitting for my girlfriend at the time's parents. That was quite fun. I was like, Alister, we need to go and we need to ride motorbikes, and you were like, yeah, that sounds cool because you were up for anything. And then I was like, have you ever ridden a motorbike? You were like, no.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter. It did when we got stuck in that town and those people were like trying to chase us.
Took Alister into a couple of the villages. It was quite fun.
My slender legs weren't strong enough to kickstart the bike, if I recall correctly.
I'm skinnier than you, bro. I just remember having to go kickstart Alister's bike.
Yeah.
Give it to him. Hold the clutch. Don't let go. Get back on
my
bike.
And I managed to
stalls.
I stalled it in a precarious part of town.
Oh, that
was fun. And what else where I actually thought you were going with that story is I thought you were going to talk about that time when we stayed at I think it was your grandmother's place actually.
We didn't stay there. We
visited there, and we had to kick out. We had to kick out that family that was squatting in the house. This was another one of those South African experiences. Like get to kick squatters out of the house? You tell it.
I'll give you the story.
You know the context better.
So I had this Australian guy coming over and like wanted to show him a good time, and we only had, I think we had my little car, and then I knew that my granddad's Jag was at my grand's house, and I was like, no, that would be a cool car to have to like enjoy while Alister's here. So I was like messaging my gran. I was like, hey, because she was away, I think in Australia at the time, and I was like trying to ask her if I could go and fetch the car, and she was like pretty hesitant. Anyway, eventually she said it was fine, and then we went to go and fetch the car, and like all the windows and curtains were closed in the house. So I was like, that's pretty strange. Couldn't unlock the door because there was already a key in it from the inside. I was like, this is strange. Phoned my gran, and I'm telling her, and she's thinking that something strange is happening. Go around to the front of the house and through another exit, like entrance, and there was a random family staying in there, and I was like, what the hell? Anyway, and like the PlayStation hooked up to the TV and everything.
Oh yeah, I remember when you walked in. You're like, because you said that like your mate, you thought that one of your mates had been there and left his PlayStation. You're like, oh, I can't believe like he came up here like without telling me. Like I don't know why like he had the key. Like I can't believe he's just using it without telling me and leaving his PlayStation here. And then I think you looked at one of the games and you're like, he doesn't have that game or something like that. That's when we started to cotton on that. Yeah, there was something foul was afoot.
I remember went upstairs, opened the door that I would usually stay in, like in the guest room, and like this little boy like looks at me with eyes like this big. I was like, what?
And then his mum was like getting changed.
Yes, bro, like tits out and all. It was wild. It was crazy. Anyway, so like we had to evict these squatters. It was wild, and then. Anyway, so then we found the Jag keys, and that's all that mattered.
I thought someone was gonna die.
And I think this is the same time we were supposed to be fetching people from the airport. And I was in Paddy's Fortune. No, I was in the Hilux, and like I wasn't comfortable like giving Alister Paddy's car to drive. So then Alister was in the Jag, and then we were racing to the airport. We were like pushing police cars off the road. It was so cool.
Yeah, there's this funny trick where like if you're on the highway in South Africa and you drive onto the shoulder and push up on the right hand side of another car and like go pretend like you're gonna you flash your lights and you pretend like you're going to overtake them on the shoulder of the road. They just freak and move out of your way because they must think you're like in a gang or something. I don't know, but it was crazy. It worked every single time.
Yeah, that was.
We just made a game out, see how many we could do in a row.
And Alister was always having a great time because he was like, oh no, we never go over 110 in Australia. Like we'll have like the flying squad on us, and like there we flying like 180 down the freeway.
Yeah, because I remember we saw a cop car once, and I think we're probably going like 150 or something, and I was like, "Oh, Kyle, like this is not good. Like if I get like caught up with the police in a foreign country, like this is going to be so bad." And he's like, no, you just need to go faster. Like it's just like a patrol car. Like it won't be able to catch up. It won't even like put its lights on. And so he just like went flat stick past the cop car, and it just like moved out the way and just let us past.
Meg doesn't approve.
Yeah,
I just couldn't believe like how lawless.
This is not how all South Africans drive.
It looked like it. That's how we drove.
Yeah. Just wanted to say that to all the listeners.
We were definitely passing a bunch of cars driving at a normal speed in the first two lanes. But that third lane is definitely like a do what you like kind of thing.
Modest. Yeah. Oh wait. Oh yeah, the one on the right, yeah. Is there anything else we should cover off?
I don't think so.
We had a lion jump on the car.
Oh shit. Took Alister to the lion park.
I think I've just found the video. I found the video of the lion jumping on the car. So we went to this lion park, and it's like a safe. Well, it wasn't that safe, but like it's meant to be safe. Like you just keep the windows wound up. You're meant to drive really slowly and not like alarm the lions. And so we go in there and we drive up to this lion, and
We've gone to a dead end.
It starts walking toward. I'm watching the video while I'm telling the story. That's why I'm pausing to see what happens. And it starts walking towards us, and Kyle wound down the window and was trying to get Britt to get some footage, and she was freaking out that he kept winding down her window to put her hand out the window with the camera. And this lion's like just slowly walking towards us. Kyle's like slowly reversing. And then it got to a point where he realized that the lion wasn't going to stop. So he just like smashes a J turn and like speeds off. And the lion's like up in like the rear view mirror chasing the car, like slapping the tires with its hands or with its paws. It's crazy. I'm surprised it didn't scratch the car.
It became a bit like a speedway track. You just like
yeah,
sliding around.
It was an interesting experience.
We saw some elephants as well on the drive after that.
Yeah, we bribed a park ranger that was there to protect them from poachers to let us touch the elephants. He made us walk over the hill so that his like superior in the watchtower like couldn't see us. So that was a great experience. Kyle got kicked by an elephant for pulling its tail, as you do.
It's one of my 2 truths and a lie that I use on Tinder.
I've been kicked by an elephant. That was so stupid. I don't know why you did
that. I didn't kick myself with an elephant.
You're just lucky that they can't build up like a good backswing like a horse can.
Yeah, they're just very slow moving. It's just like being pushed by like this massive leg.
But getting pushed by like 1,000-kilo elephant.
It's all right.
Yeah, so that was good.
It was a good time.
I think that pretty much caps off Nations.
Yeah, that was good fun. I mean, we could talk about Worlds in South Africa. I don't really have too much to talk about it. We didn't do very well. It's a sour point for me.
Oh yeah, you didn't win. Ireland won, didn't they?
Yeah, I think Wales came second. Somebody came second.
Yeah, Wales. Who were third? I think we were fifth. Who was fourth? England? No.
New Zealand, maybe.
Not sure.
No, you lost to them.
Yeah, I think I'd remember that. I guess it's true when they say you don't remember fourth place. I'm going to coin that as the saying.
Hey guys, thanks so much for listening to this week's episode. It was so good catching up with an old friend. Stay tuned for next week. We're chatting with Frodo from Germany, 5 times world individual champion. I mean, he's won pretty much everything else as well. He brings so much value, and like I'm so excited for you guys to hear what he has to say. And yeah, good luck with your competitions this weekend.